Councilmember Fredson. I see that he is with us, and he was in here pre-session. Councilmember Sterner, have you joined us yet? Vento? Councilmember Wolf, for the record, will not be joining us today. Zarin?
Present.
And Lindstrom?
Present.
Thank you.
Did Councilmember Fredson do a mic check?
Yes, he did. Councilmember Fredson, did you want to acknowledge your attendance?
Had a hard time finding you once I went on mute there, but okay, I'm back. So,
all right, thank you very much. And I do see Councilmember Sterner has joined us. You want to do a sound check? And
check softly.
Thank you. And Councilmember Vento, you are.
I'm here.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, we have a quorum. We are ready to go for the Environment Committee for December 8th. Welcome, everybody. We've got a full agenda, bunch of comp plans, and several other items on our non-consent agenda, so we'll get started. I will call the meeting to order, and without objection, the agenda for today is approved. First item is the approval of the minutes from November 10th, 2020. Is there any changes to those minutes, or the chair will entertain a motion?
Vento moves approval.
Sterner will second.
All right, roll call. Thank you.
Fredson?
Aye.
Sterner?
Aye.
Vento?
Aye.
Zarin?
Aye.
Lindstrom?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that takes us to our consent agenda, where we have five comp plans and comprehensive sewer plans. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilmember Zirin, I believe, wants to make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Zarin makes the motion. I'll second it. Sterner.
Thank you. Roll call.
Fredson?
Aye.
Sterner?
Aye.
Vento?
Aye.
Zarin?
Aye.
Aye.
Lindstrom? Thank you.
Moving right along. On to our non-consent business agenda, which we have a rejection of bids first up. Tim, take it away.
Thank you, Chair Lindstrom. Council members, my name is Tim Woodine. I am Assistant Manager in Interceptor Engineering. I'm here to present to you on business item 2020-334, meter station 228A, Interceptor 7015C, and L35 repair, contract 20P067, rejection of bids. Next slide, please. The project was advertised on September 24th of 2020. We received 2 bids on November 5th of 2020. The first bid was from EC&I. It came in a bid price of about $11.8 million. PCI Road's bid price was about $11.1 million. Unfortunately, our engineer's estimate was $5.3 million. So a significant increase above what our engineers estimated for the project. The MCUP goal for the project was 7%. Because of the bid prices, we did not ask our Office of Equal Opportunity to evaluate how our 2 bidders compared to that goal. Next slide, please. Our proposed action is that the Metropolitan Council authorize its regional administrator to reject all bids for construction of meter station M228A, interceptor 7015C, and L35 repair, project number 805636, contract 20P067, and rebid the project. With that, I will answer any questions.
Questions. I think the natural one is why do you think they came in so high?
This is the second time that we've attempted to do this work. When we initially worked on this project, there was some significant settling in this area due to groundwater and dewatering. We placed a number of limitations on the contractor related to that groundwatering, but I suspect that our soils information that we provided, the limitations that we provided were such that the contractors saw quite a bit of risk in bidding this project. Because of that, they added quite a bit of cost to especially the excavation work related to meter 228, significantly more than we had anticipated initially. So part of what we want to do is, as we go through and redesign and rebid this project, place more information or include a lot more information about the geotechnical information or geotechnical conditions at that location, really work more to provide them better information so they can better design their soil retention systems and their dewatering system.
Makes sense to me. Councilmember Zirin.
Of course, I've got to ask the question. Am I muted? No, I'm not. How is this going to impact our schedule? Are there any other projects that are waiting on this one? Is it going to bump things and impact us in a different way? Just wondering.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, council members. Adam Gordon may be able to help me a little bit more with this, but obviously because we are delaying the award of the Meter 228 project, we will need to take a little bit more time to review and better design that project. There were two portions of this project, namely the work that we were doing up on Interceptor 7015C that is not being affected by the work at Meter 228, as well as the repairs that we wanted to do on the force main of L35. Those two portions of this project are being separated from the Meter 228 project and will be rebid as a separate project. So that work will continue at a more rapid pace. But we do want to take the time to step back at Meter 228 and really evaluate the best way to put that forward. Adam, do you have anything that you want to add with that?
No, I think you covered it pretty well, Tim. I think the important thing, Mr. Chair and council members, is that when we do have such a gap within the engineer's estimate and the bidder's pricing, it really does lead us to, take a closer look at our documents and assess what kind of risk we might not be sharing or properly sharing within the documents. My experience is usually that if you have gaps like that, you're going to end up paying a lot more for the project no matter what. So the effort to try to get ahead of this one and make sure that we've provided the contractors all the information that they can have to reduce the unknowns will help us get towards the truer cost of the project. I anticipate the project costs are probably somewhere between the engineer's estimate and what the bidders decided to put in their pricing. And hopefully we can have a contract that is more manageable when we get into the field and we have a better way of sharing that risk, and having more information in front of our construction people as well as the contractors, so that they know how to go about the project properly. But definitely a little bit of a red herring, something we don't look on too favorably, but we're willing to say this doesn't look right now, rather than get further down the road and discover that we're paying a lot more for a project because of unknowns that are found during the course of construction.
Great questions. Other questions or comments? Sounds like it's best to provide the potential bidders as we possibly can, which could result in a savings of millions of dollars on this one project alone. The chair would entertain a motion.
Councilmember Fretson, I'll move the staff recommendation.
And Zirin will second it.
Roll call, please.
Fredson,
Aye.
Sterner,
Aye.
Bento,
Aye.
Zarin,
Aye.
Lindstrom.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Next up, facility improvements and rehabilitation. Ms. Heflin.
I will, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the Environment Committee. I will just turn on my video to say hello. My name is Renee Heflin. I'm a manager of the Plant Engineering Group, which is in the Wastewater Planning and Capital Project Delivery Department. I'm pleased to be here to present business item 2020-335, Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant Rehabilitation and Facility Improvements, projects number 805990 and 808921. Next slide, please. Excuse me, this project will include concrete rehabilitation in 8 primary settling tanks, 6 gravity thickening tanks, and a segment of the north and south influent channel, and primary settling tank collector replacement. An emergency declaration was approved by the council July of 2020 as business item 2020-206 to replace 3 failed primary settling collector systems. This project will replace the remaining 5. Next slide, please. This contract will construct solid storage pads improvements in areas 1 and 2. We will replace asphalt pads with concrete and improve drainage systems. Areas 3 and 4, in areas 3 and 4, we will rehabilitate roads and storm catch basins, install sidewalks, remove unused railroad tracks, and rehabilitate curbs. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This contract will install closed loop cooling systems for plant air compressors at 2 locations. The compressors supply air for pneumatic instrumentation and air-powered tools. The compressors currently use groundwater for once-through cooling. The closed loop cooling will reduce the use of groundwater at the plant, believe it or not, 33%. Next slide, please. Finally, miscellaneous work items included in this contract are inspection of the South St. Paul force main that runs inside the plant to ascertain its condition, replacement of a segment of the city water line that's near end of service life, head house improvements, and replacement of broken wall tile in the compressor building. Next slide, please. The engineer's estimate for this work is $13,787,882. The project was advertised September 18th, 2020. 2 bids were received November 5th, 2020. One is from Shank Constructors, Inc. in the amount of $13,119,800. And the second one is from Total Mechanical, Inc. in the amount of $14,404,982. Shank Constructors was determined to have the lowest responsible bid, and the Office of Equal Opportunity reviewed the bids and determined that Shank Constructors' bid exceeds the 8% MCUB goal by committing to 9.05% utilization. Next slide, please. Therefore, it's the staff's recommendation that the Metropolitan Council authorize the regional administrator to award and execute a construction contract for the Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant Rehabilitation and Facility Improvements Project, MCS project numbers 805990 and 808921, contract number 20P220 with Shank Constructors, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $13,119,800. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Environment Committee.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Heflin? I'm wondering, is Shank a local firm or not?
Mr. Chair, I believe so.
Great. Other questions or comments on this? Or is there a motion?
Vento
Councilmember
moves
Hudson
approval.
here. I will second.
All righty then.
Very good. Yeah, you got to be quick to the punch there, Chris.
Woo.
Okay, roll call, please.
Fredson,
Aye.
Sterner,
Aye.
Bento,
Aye.
Zarin.
Aye.
Lindstrom.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving right along, our third item, also the Metro plant, some plant secondary improvements. Another contract before us.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members. My name is Tim Amstutz, and I am an assistant manager in the plant engineering, one of the programs in wastewater planning and capital delivery. I will be presenting this business item 2020-336 called the Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant Secondary Improvements, contract 20P228 and project number 808930. Next slide, please. The secondary treatment portion of the Metro plant is shown in the red square on the photograph and consists of two distinct process areas: the activated sludge process that happens in the aeration tanks and settling of the solids in the secondary treatment tanks. This project upgrades and rehabilitates 5 general areas shown in the left of the slide, called Project Scope. The first is the aeration tank diffuser replacement, aeration control upgrades, under drain and meter pit rehabilitation, final settling tank backfill gate installation, and air header leak repair assembly. The following slides provide more detail on each. Next slide, please. Aeration tank diffuser replacement. This project will add about 340,000 individual membrane diffusers, which in the photograph are the circular discs shown attached to manifold piping. This project is the largest aeration diffuser replacement project in the country. The Metro plant currently has ceramic diffusers and will be switching to membrane diffusers. Membrane diffusers do not need to be cleaned in the same manner as ceramic diffusers. This will save O&M time and cost. The estimated energy savings switching to membrane diffusers from ceramic is about $400,000 per year. Next slide, please. Aeration control upgrades. The plant has 16 aeration tanks in which each aeration tank has 12 zones, as shown on the slide. This project will add aeration control valves in each of the 12 individual zones that currently don't have aeration control. This will allow for improved air control, process performance, and reduced energy usage. Next slide, please. The meter pits and underdrain systems have not been upgraded or rehabilitated since they were built in 1963, 57 years ago. You can see from the condition here, there are in need of rehabilitation. There are 16 meter pits. Meter pits contain a 72-inch aeration tank effluent meter. Each aeration tank is served by a meter pit. There are 8 underdrain pits. The underdrains consist of a pipe valve gallery and a pump station used for relieving groundwater pressure below the aeration tanks. 1 underdrain pit serves 2 aeration tanks. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Final settling tank backfill gate installation. We are installing 21 backfill gate frames. The gates were identified as a need during our criticality analysis. If the existing sluice gates were to fail in place, half of the plant would need to be taken offline to replace the gates. This backup gate frame will allow for a temporary slide gate to be installed while the sluice gates are being replaced. Next slide, please. Air header leak repair assembly. The existing aeration header is a 90-inch to 72-inch pipe providing air for our 16 aeration tanks, as shown on the left part of the slide. The line is constructed in sections, with each section being coupled through a split ring style dresser coupling. The couplings have been developing leaks in recent years, which decreases aeration efficiency and performance. The aeration line does not have isolation valves, which makes taking down the line to replace couplings extremely difficult. This project will tighten the bolts on 17 of the worst leaking couplings. The project will also test an external fabricated ring retainer solution on 2 joints. If this is successful in reducing the leaks, more will be installed on a future project. Next slide, please. Bid results. The invitation for bid for this project was advertised on October 1st, 2020. Procurement facilitated a public bid opening on November 3rd, 2020, and 1 bid was received. Shank Constructors Incorporated bid was in the amount of $32,388,600. The engineer's estimate was $50,774,703. The project is financed by a loan from the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority and has a disadvantaged business participation goal of 2%. The Office of Equal Opportunity determined that the bid from Shank Constructors Incorporated meets the numerical goals for this contract. Shank Constructors Incorporated bid was responsive and responsible. Next slide, please. The proposed action asked for today is that the Metropolitan Council authorize its regional administrator to award and execute construction contract 20P228 for MCS project 808930 Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant secondary improvements with Shank Constructors Incorporated in the amount of $32,388,600. Next slide, please. This concludes my presentation. Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Amstutz?
Chair, I have a couple questions.
Please.
All right, thank you. The first one I had has to do with when we're changing from ceramics to membrane. Do we lose any durability? I see the huge energy savings, but is the durability still there for that? And then some of the other items that we're talking about, like in the less maintenance, like less painting or that type of thing, as far as the pipes go in that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. The ceramic diffusers have a slightly longer life than the membrane diffusers, but they are very difficult to clean, and they tend to basically become less efficient in air transmission over time. So with the membrane diffusers, they have more flexibility to them. So they can be what we call bumped, which air can be added to it, and that would bump and move the membranes to slough off and push off the sludge. So they remain there. Their efficiency by doing that is higher. They have a slightly lower lifespan, so we are planning to replace them. I think it's between a 7 to 10 year life cycle, but the efficiency during that period of time is greater than the ceramics. So that was the reason that we're going with membranes.
Thank you. And then, Chair, if I could, just one follow-up question. We just had one bidder on this, and is there any way we can, in the future, get more bids to try to be more competitive? And why are we getting 1 and 2 bids on this process? Are we getting advertising out of marketing, or is it so specific that there's not that many qualified bidders that even around the area?
Mr. Chair and committee members, we bid this project earlier this spring, and we rejected all bids in that situation because of the good faith efforts and a difficulty in that meaning. We re-advertised. And the scope basically was essentially the same. Just we had more aeration tanks versus the first time. This is very specific, specialized work. And because of that, I think a lot of the contractors obviously didn't have, unfortunately, interest in it. We had a lot of people receive bid sets. We answered all their questions during bidding. I think we even extended the date a little bit to accommodate them. So yeah, unfortunately, we only got one, but we feel real good about Shank Constructors Incorporated.
Thank you, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you. It's interesting to look at this. The engineering estimate and the actual bid worked in our favor, and this time around compared to our last agenda item. Pretty significant difference, but this time more in our favor. So, is there a motion to move forward with this project?
Yes, Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the project. This is Sterner.
Second?
Zarin seconds.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Fredson,
Aye.
Sterner,
Aye.
Vento,
Aye.
Zarin,
Aye.
Lindstrom.
Aye. Thank you. And that takes us to our final item, a sole source acquisition of goods and services from Evoqua Water Technologies.
Mr. Chair and council members, my name is Janine Clancy. I'm the Assistant General Manager for Wastewater Planning and Capital Project Delivery. And in addition, I have with me today, I'm a part of the ES team, is Bert Tracy, the manager of the Interceptor Services Business Unit. We're here today to request approval of a sole source acquisition of goods and services from Evoqua Technologies to provide bulk chemicals and services for odor and corrosion control in the MCES interceptor system. Could you go to the next slide, Jason? Thank you. The Metropolitan Council has contracted for several years with Evoqua to provide nitrate salts and odor control equipment and services. Evoqua has installed and owns the chemical storage tanks and chemical delivery systems, including the pumps at several interceptor facilities across our system. While Evoqua has provided good services and has helped ES meet our customer level of service expectations by managing odors, their systems are proprietary, and therefore invitations for bids have resulted in a single vendor. In short, having these proprietary systems has made the competitive bidding process difficult. So after evaluation that included staff from Bert's Group, ISBU, Support Services, Wastewater Planning and Capital Project Delivery, it was determined to be in the best interest of MCES to procure a new design, build, operate contract for odor and corrosion control services. In order to develop the contract documents, which requires collaboration with procurement, the Office of General Counsel, the Office of Equal Opportunity, and Environmental Services staff, we are recommending that the Council extend the existing contract with Evoqua for 18 months in an amount not to exceed $4.5 million. And the reason that we are recommending 18 months, it may seem like a long period of time, but this is a very complex procurement and it involves designing and constructing a system and then entering into an operations contract. The last time that ES did a design, build, operate contract was when we built and commissioned the Blue Lake Final Stabilization Facility, which was about 20 years ago. In addition, there are limited vendors in the industry that can provide this service, potentially only 4 vendors in the United States. And we are anticipating a 6-month transition phase in order to ensure continuity of service. And then finally, we are asking for the 18 months because due to COVID, we've had to prioritize our work plan. And I have to tell you, I'm extremely proud of the way that our staff has performed and the support that we have achieved and received from the Office of General Counsel, Procurement, and OEO. But the fact remains that all of our departments are responding to new challenges every single day, and we're prioritizing work based on those challenges. Next slide, please. So here's a little bit about the system that Evoqua operates. We currently have 15 sites where bioxide is injected into the system. Bioxide is a nitrate salt that binds with sulfur in the wastewater and reduces the amount of hydrogen sulfide that can be generated. And as you know, the hydrogen sulfide smells like rotten eggs. The injection or dosing occurs continuously at most sites and is adjusted based on the levels of hydrogen sulfide detected. The equipment is operated and maintained by Evoqua with weekly visits to each system. And Evoqua monitors with Odalog equipment. And if you recall, when Jeff Schwartz and Lisa Wolfert were here, they showed you a picture of what Odalog equipment looks like. And then they also do sampling and testing field equipment at the dosing sites and at the additional 15 control points. Next slide, please. So our proposed action this afternoon is that the Metropolitan Council authorizes the award, negotiation, and execution of a sole source contract with Evoqua Water Technologies for an additional 18 months and not to exceed $4.5 million to provide bulk chemicals and services for odor and corrosion control. And with that, Mr. Tracy and I will respond to any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, let's have a motion. Or Councilmember Zirin, you're on mute.
I'll make the stinky motion.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll suffer it second.
All righty. Roll call.
Fredson,
Aye.
Turner,
Aye.
Vento,
Aye.
Zarin. Yep, I saw him say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Lindstrom.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We've had a very efficient meeting so far and cruised right through our agenda. And that takes us to the general manager's report. Lisa.
Well, I can't believe it, but the year is winding down, so I think this will be our last Environment Committee meeting of 2020. I think it's an understatement to say it's been a hard year, and in a lot of respects, I think we're happy to see it come to a close. But having said that, still have lots to be grateful for. Our staff are fatigued for sure, but they're still doing a great job making sure that we fulfill our mission and keeping that spread of COVID in the workplace down. So while we had reported an increase in spikes, we're back in a little better shape again, and we now this week rolled out on-site testing, which is really going to help us be able to quickly respond when we see a little uptick in a facility so that we can address probably what's a asymptomatic carrier. I think the statistics or percentages are something like 40% of the positives are asymptomatic, so that can be a real problem in the workplace. Even with masks and social distancing, you just can't totally keep everybody too far away with some of the work duties. So we're really grateful that we're able to get that next level of testing. I think for 2021, I want to offer again, let us know what information would be helpful for you to hear more about. I will say that there's a lot of work being done on the wastewater COVID testing. And I think probably within early, maybe say February, we might be able to bring an information item to let you know what they're coming up with the testing. I know they're going to be gathering wastewater from more sites within the metro region and trying to identify a little bit more. But the tricky part of all this is determining at what level is there a significant difference, and being able to kind of come up with a scale for how you would deal with these testing. But it's a really good concept. I think it'll be useful for future situations and maybe some other ways that we hadn't thought of until we got into the pandemic and realized how hard it is to, get a real representative idea of how much illness is going on in the region. So it's a very hopeful thing, I think, for us to be able to have as a tool going forward, taking a while to get developed. So I want to thank you as a committee. I think you're awesome and the best committee in the whole Met Council. So don't, I hope nobody wants to switch committees because we'd really like to have another year with you. And thank you for your support.
Thank you, and right back at you. Just like you said, just an amazing year, a terrible year in so many ways. And I know I speak for the committee when I say we're just so impressed by the dedication of the entire team from top to bottom. So the other one quick thing I wanted to mention, I just thought of is tomorrow there's a EPA event, a webinar tomorrow morning at like 10 o'clock, maybe local time. Yeah, that features our staff. And the title is Workforce Technology Adoption. It's all about the people. So that's pretty cool. And in their marketing for this event, they highlight our division as like a national leader, international leader on this topic and on many other things. So that's once again we're being held up as a national leader. And I'm sure it's not too late to sign up if you want to check that out online. 10 o'clock tomorrow.
It's also possible we had an earlier one that Jen Zukowski, and we brought it to the whole council. There may be an opportunity for here to also bring that as an info item.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we are adjourned. Enjoy your evenings, everybody. Thank you.